Yeah, we can start from 8.16. If somebody join, I'll ask Mataji. Okay. Let's start 8.16 onwards, maybe. Yeah.
Okay, ready?
1 minute. Okay.
Hare Krishna, my dear devotees, all glories to Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Hare Krishna,
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Tonight we're hearing from Bhagavad Gita as it is. Chapter 8, verse number 16. Abrahma Bhuvana Luka, Punar Avartina Regionam. Mam Upetya to Konteya, Punar Janman Navidyate. From the highest planet in the material world down to the lowest, all are places of misery, wherein repeated birth and death take place. But one who attains to my abode, meaning Krishna's abode, O son of Kunti, never takes birth again. Haribol. Purport by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. All kinds of yogis, such as karma yogis, jnana yogis, hatha yogis, etc., eventually have to attain devotional perfection in bhakti yoga, or Krishna consciousness, before they can go to Krishna's transcendental abode and never return. Those who attain the highest material planets, the planets of the demigods, are again subjected to repeated birth and death. As persons on earth are elevated to higher planets, people...
Hare Krishna, the volume is really low.
The volume is low. She said the volume is low.
Volume is low.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare.
This is on, right?
Hare Ram, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Still pretty low.
Yeah.
Okay.
How about now, Mataji?
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Rama Ram, Hare Hare. Is it better now?
I'm going to log out and log back in and see if that helps.
Okay. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Jai Shri Krishna Bhagavan Ki Jai, Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Hare Krishna Maha Mantra Ki Jai. Gaura Premanandi, Haribol.
Hare Krishna. That's better.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
So today we're hearing from the Bhagavad Gita as it is, chapter 8, text number 16. And the Sanskrit is Brahma Bhuvanaloka Punar Avartinarijana Mamupetya to Konteya Punar Janmana Vidyate. Translation: from the highest planet in the material world down to the lowest, all are places of misery wherein repeated birth and death take place. But one who attains to my abode, O son of Kunti, never takes birth again. Purport by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. All kinds of yogis, karma yogis, jnana yogis, hatha yogis, etc., eventually have to attain devotional perfection in Krishna, in bhakti yoga, or Krishna consciousness, before they can go to Krishna's transcendental abode and never return. Those who attain the highest material planets, the planets of the demigods, are again subjected to repeated birth and death. As persons on earth are elevated to higher planets, people on higher planets, such as Brahmaloka, Chandraloka, and Indraloka, fall down to earth. The practice of sacrifice, called Panchagni Vidya, recommended in the Chandogya Upanishad, enables one to achieve Brahmaloka. But if on Brahmaloka one does not cultivate Krishna consciousness, then he must return to earth. Those who progress in Krishna consciousness on the higher planets are gradually elevated to the higher and higher planets, and at the time of universal devastation are transferred to the eternal spiritual kingdom. Sridhara Swami, in his commentary on Bhagavad Gita, quotes this verse: Brahmana saha te sarve samprapte pratisanchare parasyante kritatmanaha pravisanti parampadam. Where there is devastation of the material universe, Brahma and his devotees, who are constantly engaged in Krishna consciousness, are all transferred to the spiritual universe and to specific spiritual planets according to their desires. Okay, so over and over again, it's being said in the verses and in the purports given by Prabhupada that one has to completely surrender to Lord Krishna and be engaged in pure devotional service without being attracted to anything else. One must be overwhelmed by the beauty of Radha and Krishna and chant very sincerely the holy names of the Lord. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. This is the best way to make spiritual advancement and also to be able to remember Krishna at the moment of death and go back to Godhead. That should be our real purpose in life. Actually, it's not that difficult to go back to Godhead if you get the habit of regularly chanting Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, and associate with devotees and hear lectures given by devotees from Bhagavad Gita. In other words, regularly hearing Bhagavad Gita spoken by genuine devotees. That way, every day one gets the immunization from Maya by this hearing and chanting and surrendering completely Surrendering in what way? Well, giving up everything that is not connected to Krishna and always engaged in Krishna conscious activities. In that way, one can go right up to the moment of death and remember Krishna. And you have to remember, at the moment of death, what you have done throughout your life will flash before your mind. And if most of the time, if not all the time, you've been chanting Hare Krishna and engaging in devotional service, well, that's what you're going to see. And therefore, you'll be able to see Krishna at the moment of death and go back to Godhead. The moment of death is the most important, let's say, time in a person's life, because everything they've done in their life, if it's all been engagements to please Krishna, then naturally they're going to remember Krishna at the moment of death, because that's what they were doing throughout their life. It's very important that every day we should chant our 16 rounds minimum, but there's no maximum. And hear lectures, give lectures, hear lectures given by bona fide devotees, and engage in hearing and chanting the glories of Lord Krishna and his pastimes, everything about the Lord, his pastimes, his his transcendental activities, and so forth. So that means we're Krishnized. And by becoming Krishnized, at the same time, we become purified. And we lose the pale attraction of material life and become completely satisfied by spiritual life. That should be our meditation. And once we get that taste of chanting, dancing, feasting, and hearing lectures, giving lectures, and so forth, we don't think that we're missing anything. In fact, we may remember when we were just normal materialistic people, that's when we were missing something. We were missing Krishna. But once you get Krishna by the chanting and dancing and hearing and so forth, now you realize I'm not missing anything. This is so wonderful that I have no desire to do anything else but continually engage in the devotional service of the Lord in the association of bona fide devotees. Okay, so this verse today, our takeaway is the practice of sacrifice called Panchagni Vidya, recommended in the Chandogya Upanishad, enables one to achieve Brahmaloka. But if, on Brahmaloka, one does not cultivate Krishna consciousness, then he must return to earth. Those who progress in Krishna consciousness on the higher planets are gradually elevated to higher and higher planets, and at the time of universal devastation are transferred to the eternal spiritual kingdom. Sridhara Swami, in his commentary on Bhagavad Gita, quotes this verse. Brahmana saha te sarve samprapye pratisanchure parasnyante kritatmana bhavisanti parampadam. When there is devastation on the material of this material universe, Brahma and his devotees who are constantly engaged in Krishna consciousness, that's very important, constantly engaged in Krishna consciousness are all transferred to the spiritual universe and to specific spiritual planets according to their desires. We should pay a lot of attention to this verse because the real purpose of life is not to stay in the material world, not to have one birth after another of mundane activity and desires, but to get completely purified of all mundane things and be sanctified by all spiritual, Krishna conscious things. In that way, one can easily remember Krishna at the moment of death and go back to Godhead. So we must be very careful not to be sidetracked by any material nonsense. This world is full of material nonsense. Big cars, big skyscrapers, big bank accounts, big baseball games, football games, all these things. They're all a waste of time and will only stop us from developing the love of Krishna. But if we're strictly involved in Krishna consciousness, we will not feel as if we're missing anything. If we're not engaged in Krishna consciousness, then we do feel that I'm missing something. But if you engage in Krishna consciousness every day, chanting, dancing, feasting, and hearing lectures, giving lectures, associating with nice devotees, you're not missing anything. And you are also learning something new every day. There's so much literature Prabhupada has written. It can take us many lifetimes to absorb it all. So we don't have to read any other book. We don't have to go to any other lecture of mundane people. We simply associate with devotees, chant Hare Krishna, take prasadam, listen to lectures by genuine devotees, and be happy. Here it is, the ideal perfection of life. Okay, are there any questions anyone would like to ask? Or any thing they would like to add to what I have said? Any questions? Or yes, Mataji, go right ahead.
In the purport where it says devotional perfection in Bhakti Yoga or Krishna consciousness, I'm wondering what is considered perfection?
Okay, that's a good question. Perfection means that you naturally are attracted to chanting, dancing, feasting, giving lectures, hearing lectures, engaging in devotional service. That's the perfection of human life. You lose completely any taste for mundane sense gratification, and you replace it with full-time Krishna conscious activities. Therefore, it says here in in what we read today, the verse, from the highest planet in the material world down to the lowest, all are places of misery, wherein repeated birth and death take place. But one who attains to my abode, Krishna says, O son of Kunti, or Arjuna, never takes birth again. So here is the quintessential explanation of what is real. What is real? Well, trying to go to the moon, it's not real. Trying to engage in sense gratification, it's not real. Trying to be a billionaire, it's not real. But you try to become a humble and very, let's say, dedicated devotee, serving Radha and Krishna. That's something more valuable than gold or silver or anything. It's more valuable than anything because it's something eternal, whereas gold is not eternal. And being famous for achieving mundane goals, that's not eternal. But being fully satisfied to live a simple and humble life of Krishna consciousness, that is eternal. That is substantive. It's something real. So therefore it says, from the highest planet in the material world down to the lowest, all are places of misery where repeated birth and death take place. But one who attains to my abode, oh, son of Kunti, meaning Krishna, never takes birth again. So we should take a lot of, let's say, pay a lot of attention to this verse and the purport, especially in the purport when it says, Krishna consciousness, those who progress in Krishna consciousness on the higher planets are gradually elevated to higher and higher planets, and at the time of universal devastation are transferred to the eternal spiritual kingdom. Sridhara Swami, in his commentary on Bhagavad Gita, quotes this verse. When there is devastation in the material universe, Brahma and his devotees, who are constantly engaged in Krishna consciousness, are all transferred to the spiritual universe and to specific spiritual planets according to their desires. Okay, so this is our takeaway for today. We should be very, very, let's say, enticed, very, very enamored, very, very pleased to hear such things, that simply by chanting Hare Krishna and taking prasadam and associating with devotees and hearing lectures and engaging humbly in devotional service without any material goal in life. The real goal in life is to please Krishna and Krishna's devotees. That is real. Everything else, skyscrapers, big cars, airplanes, big bank accounts, all that is illusory. It has a beginning and has an end. But devotional service does not have a beginning and it doesn't have an end. That is something real. That is substantive. That means that you have something real that you can hold on to eternally. What is that? It's the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra, and it's devotional service dedicated to pleasing Krishna. Thank you very much, my dear devotees. Are there any questions or comments? Any questions or comments? Okay, no questions, no comments. Please chant Hare Krishna and be happy. Don't worry about anything because Krishna guarantees that you will be protected by his mercy because of your dedication to chanting and following the rules and regulations of Krishna consciousness. Thank you very much, my dear devotees. Please have a good evening. chant Hare Krishna, and be happy. All glories to Srila Prabhupada ki